Hi everybody, you've got Lauren Tida here, Senior Executive Editor for Phoenix Home and Garden Magazine. I am here with Alison King. Alison is one of our Masters of the Southwest of 2023. She's a preservationist here in the Valley, and she's been responsible for making sure that some of the most iconic mid-century modern pieces of architecture here in Arizona are still here today. So, Alison, can you tell us a little bit about what you do?
Well, sure. So in 2003, my husband and I started driving around the city and trying to figure out the next neighborhood that we wanted to live in. And as part of that, started cataloging all of the great mid-century architecture that's here in the Valley. And it was just a real process of discovery for us to rediscover our own hometown. And through that process, the city was going through a lot of change and development was going on, and the city was very active. And we saw a lot of significant architecture being destroyed, whether it was private homes by significant architects or commercial properties, banks, and other buildings that are iconic here in the Valley. So as we became more aware of what our local culture was like and what the concerns and issues were here in Arizona, we started to do a little activism and outreach and education of the public to make sure that they understood the treasures that we have here in the Valley.
So what are some of the buildings that you have been responsible for making sure are still here today?
Well, first I got started in residential architecture and cataloging that, and a big part of my research was cataloging the Al Beadle archives of all the different properties that he's worked on. And his family was so generous to give me access to their archives and their databases, and we built an enormous map of all of his work, and were able to let some of the homeowners know that their homes were significant. I also have worked with cataloging Ralph Haver's architecture as well, and became his biographer through that process. But the big project that most people probably remember that I worked on was the David and Gladys Wright House, which was in Arcadia by Frank Lloyd Wright, which was purchased by a developer and was slated for lot division and demolition. And our community rallied around that, even so much as sleeping outside on the street, to make sure that there was no activity going on. We did that in shifts and called it Right Watch, like they do all across the nation. They have Right Watches to make sure that significant architecture doesn't get demolished. And so that was a many-year journey that we took, trying to bring attention to and help the new owner, who purchased from the developers, preserve and activate that space as a cultural institution.
So what do you think it is about Arizona that makes our mid-century architecture so significant?
Well, the type of modernism that we have here is very site-specific because of our climate. So generally we categorize it as desert modernism. Many people compare it to similar to what's going on in Palm Springs, but we have a kind of a different vibe here, which I think is a little bit more Western, a little bit more casual. Certainly I see a lot more individuality here, that everybody has their own kind of interpretation or take on what modernism should look like. We have a lot of creativity here, lots of architects and do-it-yourselfers who are activating and reinventing their spaces, just like the beautiful space that we're in here today.
Thank you, Alison. Congratulations on the Masters of the Southwest distinction. Again, that is our Masters of the Southwest issue. It is on newsstands for now. You might have to go to phgmag.com to get a back copy, because we have our new issue coming out in the next couple of weeks. But you're not going to want to miss those Masters of the Southwest.